feel like it's been days since I recorded anything. What's up, people? It's Mike. I'm in the shop. It's this old hot rod. It's Monday, it's after work, and just trying to pick away at a few things on the list. I haven't been filming a lot because it's just been a lot of stuff that's kind of boring. I think you guys probably have heard that on other channels where sometimes it's just things that really, you know, they're filmable, but they're really not video worthy, let's just say. That being said, let me grab the camera off the stand. I'll take you for a quick walk. Hopefully no one will get sick. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to take a quick walk around the car. You can see in the back, you can see these spots that are all sanded down. I drilled, I laid out, I did a layout of, well, let me just take back one step, back up one step. Underneath the car, what I did was I laid underneath the car, and I actually took a Sharpie and I went around and marked out my whole floor pattern, the structure. And then I flipped it over. I did a layout of all these holes every 2 inches, running straight down from the side, down here, 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 and here, down this side. Those are all going to be riveted. So the whole floor in this entire car is going to be riveted in. I don't really ever see the need to remove the floor in the future, but I at least have the option, God forbid something happens and I ever have to remove the floor, the sheet metal, I can do that. Also, what I've got done is, see if I can move this light a little closer. You see in there, you can see the clecos. Those clecos are holding this panel in here, and then same on the driver's side. I'm going to rivet those in, and the reason I can't attach all 3 pieces, so the 2 sides in the middle, is because if I ever need to get it out of the car, I won't be able to remove it from the car. We'll see what's going to happen. I don't know exactly, but in any event, those will most likely be riveted, or the side pieces will be welded in maybe, and then the middle will be riveted. I don't know. I showed on Facebook and Instagram these panels here. I got these fillers in on both sides. Obviously the well is in, that's done. I whipped up just a little trunk latch, or like a, not a latch, I don't know what that is. I guess it's the latch. It's what the latch latches onto. So this was a Volkswagen Beetle latch on the deck lid. I have photos of the car in the 60s from when it was built. So now the trunk lid latches. I had bought a trunk lid or a deck lid prop, and I put it on and I ended up fabricating this bracket, and then I added another bracket underneath. It ended up, I didn't realize it, it was old chrome, but I ended up bending it because it was brass, and it was chrome plated brass, and I didn't know it. So I ended up having to buy this. I got this from Eckler's or Max. But again, I don't like buying stuff if I can make it or if I can find old parts to use, but that just wasn't the case with the prop. And again, the other one was just too weak. It wouldn't hold the deck lid up. This one's doing the job it's supposed to do because that's what it's designed for. What else have I got done? Not a whole heck of a lot. I have this white PVC sheet over there, expanded PVC. That is for the interior panels. I have received everything for the interior. Every single thing that I need for the interior, right down to the thread, the staples, the foam, all the Naugahyde, everything. So I am in the process, so I've been in the process of making templates for the interior panels. So I'm trying to get the car out to the exhaust shop. I was at the drive shaft company today. I dropped off the drive shaft to have it cut down and some new universal joints put in so I can run it from the Ford 4-speed, the top loader, to the 57 rear axle. So that's being made. Hoping to have that done within the next couple of weeks. I don't know what his schedule is. I honestly didn't ask. I told him to call me when it was done. I'm not a real pushy guy, so I just say, you know, it is what it is. If you need to change something, change it. You know, I'm not going to nickel and dime the guy and you know, give him a hard time. He's just trying to do the right thing and make sure that the car is safe when it's going down the road. So drive shafts at the drive shaft company getting cut down. I have everything I need for the exhaust. Got my hangers, I got my tips, the mufflers, all my clamps, the flanges, the gaskets. I got everything that I need. What I need to do next, oh, and then I got today in the mail, I've been watching this on eBay and it just hasn't sold, so I decided to message a guy and ask him if he'd take a little bit less than what he was asking for it. So this is an early Ford 3334 emergency brake lever. I was able to pick this up, got a good deal on it. It's old chrome, just needs to be polished up a little bit, but it ought to look good in the car. It should go with the car. The interior is going to be all nice and new, but this being a mechanical piece, I thought it'd be okay to have something a little bit older looking, not all new, painted and fancy, you know, like the rest of the car. So this is going to be one of my next projects. So what I need to do is remove the floor pans from inside the seat, inside the car under the seat, and then underneath the footwell, and get my pedals mocked up and build some type of a mount coming off the side of the top loader so I can get this mounted. I know, I think the equalizer is under there already. The cables coming off the rear axle are under there. So that's nice. I don't have to go and buy, you know, what I need for that. It's already all there, so it's perfect. It'll work out good. I got the entire floor structure, all of the 1-inch box tubing. I got the flat stock. Everything's welded, top and bottom, 100% welded. Transmission cross members welded. Wishbone mounts are welded. The wishbones where I pie cut them to adjust them to get them inside the frame rails, those are welded. I want to get the car so it's sturdy and stable so I can bring it to the exhaust shop on the trailer and not have to worry about anything. So at this point everything's welded, and that's really the reason why I haven't been videotaping the past couple of nights, is because it's been me underneath the car. It's been me mapping out my holes to get everything riveted down. I won't rivet things down until everything is epoxied and painted. Shock mounts are all welded on. Like I said, just everything's welded. What's next? What's next? I got my oil filter off. I put a block off plate on the motor, on the side of the motor, on the passenger side. If you're not aware, on a 371 Olds, J2 Oldsmobile engine, they have two separate oil filters. One that comes off the side of the pan and one that comes off the side of the block. The one that is on the side of the block, I believe, is the primary. And I ordered a oil filter relocation kit, but the company sent me the wrong one. And I am really guilty of sometimes when I get something in the mail and I know what it is, I don't always open the box right away. And I kind of shot myself in the foot this time by doing that. It's kind of beyond the date of being able to return it. So I'm forced to buy another one, and not knowing when that's going to come in, I just built a small little aluminum block-off plate for the primary oil filter location, the mount. So I'm just going to block it off just so no oil comes out of the motor when it's on the trailer and going to the exhaust shop. So what I need to do next is I need to get the emergency brake handle mounted. I need to get the starter mounted on the motor, on the bell housing, so the exhaust company knows where to route the exhaust. So he knows what obstacles or obstructions are going to be in his way, and then also the pedals. I'm hoping I can get away with running the starter on the driver's side because I have a crossover. But I want to keep it for the future. I have another Oldsmobile motor in the big shop, a 324 Olds. And I want to use that someday, maybe in a Model A build. And I'm going to need that crossover for that build. And I don't want to have to buy another one, especially if I can use the factory original bell housing on this motor and not have to use up that crossover. So I'm going to be running a mechanical tack on this car. And what you need to do to run a mechanical tack is you need to find a generator that has a tack drive on the back. So if I were to take this off, this is a mechanical tack. So this would be from a 58 to a 62 Corvette. And I bought this at Carlisle. They're heavy, heavy, heavy. This is old chrome. And this was at the end of the day. I was literally getting ready to go home and took a quick walk around and found this. I got a killer deal on it. However, when I opened it up just the other day, there's no internals in the Tack drive. So I ended up finding the metal gear, which they don't reproduce, but I found one on eBay. I found the fiber gear, and I found the output with the speedometer, the Tack cable drive. So it will run if the car's idling, let's just say at 1,000 RPM. This generator is going to make the Tack read at 2,000 RPM. So you need a reducer. This is a Tack drive reducer. This is a Stewart Warner reducer. You probably can't see it on the camera because it probably won't pick it up. But this is it runs at 0.500. So it cuts the generator drive in half. So in order to run a mechanical Tack that's not a Corvette Tack, because those are already calibrated to run with these generators, you need a gear reducer. And the 0.500 gear reducers are really hard to find. I had a search saved on eBay and one popped up and I bought it immediately. This one happens to have dual outputs. So I'll end up having to run a cap on the lower one. I think it's probably from a boat. So I'll have to run a cap on the lower one and then just run the drive for the mechanical Tack off the top one. So this is going to be hanging off the passenger side of the motor on the car. I'll paint this housing, probably white or turquoise, whatever I decide to do. And I'll get this mounted on the car. I got to get this mounted at some point. Again, this probably won't interfere with the exhaust, but I do want to get it mounted on the car soon so I know kind of how things are going to work. Unfortunately, I think this is going to kind of eliminate the opportunity or the option for me to run hood sides. I hadn't really thought about this when I decided to run hood sides, but if there's a way I can get around it to be able to run hood sides, then, you know, I'll just do whatever it is I have to do. I would prefer not to have it on top of the motor on the side. I want to have it kind of sitting down, maybe behind the passenger side headlight. So again, if that's the case and I decide to go that route, I just won't be able to run a hood, or the hood sides. I'll be able to run a hood top but not the sides, which at the end of the day is not that big of a deal. I'll show you guys. This is going to be another one of my prized possessions on the car. I've been really fortunate. I've been really patient and putting out a lot of feelers to people, and really fortunate with some of the parts that I've been able to find for this car. So this here, I really haven't shown anyone this yet. This is a NOS Mallory dual point distributor for an Oldsmobile. It has a 303 324 gear in it. And can you tell by the way it's keyed on the bottom of the drive on the shaft? So this is set up for a 303 324. However, this collar and shank that goes down into the motor is the exact same from a 303 all the way up to a 394. It's just the drive gear that you have to change. I have a 371 drive gear on another distributor that I bought. However, I want to run this one. There's a few reasons why. For those of you that are aware and kind of understand some of these things, this distributor has already been changed over to a Petronix ignition. So it has electronic ignition. It does not have points, which is nice. Also, it's mechanical advance. So it's a preset mechanical advance. So at this point now, I was worried before with the cam that this car has in it, whether or not the cam was going to produce enough vacuum. In order to use a vacuum advanced distributor, you need to produce enough vacuum in the motor. Especially because on a 371 Oldsmobile, because I'm going to be running an electric fuel pump and removing the factory fuel pump, the factory fuel pump also doubles as a vacuum pump on these motors, right from the factory. So I don't know what the car is going to produce for vacuum, and I was a little concerned about finding a distributor to run. I had a few options to buy a vacuum advanced distributor, but I was nervous to spend the money because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to use it. So now I've avoided that whole situation by finding this distributor. Also, the good thing about this distributor is I don't have to send it out and have it rebuilt. That sometimes will cost you anywhere from, you know, $150 to $300, $400, $500. This is a brand new NOS distributor. It's never been put in a car. It even came in the original box. And I bought this off a gentleman named Dan in Colorado. He's the same person that I bought the dimpled NASCAR old chrome valve covers from. Also, you know, on the motor. So I've been able to find a lot of really cool parts for this car. So I'm super excited. Once kind of everything's coming together, and once things come together and this thing's on the road and it's out there in front of the people, I'm really hoping that everyone's going to really take a look at this car and realize that there's a lot of, you know, hard to find. You guys laugh at that term, and I do too now, but there's a lot of hard to find parts on this car, and really desirable parts on this car. And I've just been super fortunate to be able to find some of those parts, really digging down deep. So, that being said, that's really all that's been happening. Just a lot of welding, a lot of just like detailed stuff. I'm going to put this video up, and then the next thing I'm going to work on is get the floor pans out. I'm going to crawl into the car and mark my front floor pans so I can get those all drilled and ready for rivets. And I need to put in the pedals and do the emergency brake handle. I think we're going to do the emergency brake handle first and then get into the pedals. I'm really getting down to the end of the heavy fabrication work, which is nice. And I'm getting close to really starting to get into some of like the detail mechanical work. You know, like I said, like the rivets and things like that, and drilling holes to run cables. And I want to get all the holes drilled and everything drilled before I get everything sealed in epoxy. And I want to get things sealed in epoxy before it goes off to the exhaust shop, because this garage stays really dry. I run a little heater and a dehumidifier in the basement. It stays really dry, and unfortunate things don't really seem to rust. But I don't know what the situation is at the exhaust shop. It's a metal building, and again, I just don't know. So I'm nervous to send the thing out into the weather to his shop without at least some type of a sealer on the metal. So yeah, just a lot of little detail things at the moment to get the thing ready to go out to the exhaust shop. So thanks everyone. I wanted to give everybody a quick update and let everybody know where I was at on the Coupe. And that's where I'm at. That's just a quick rundown of the Coupe and what's going on the past couple of days in the shop. So thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.